Hello, I'm Sarah Benham, Director of Operation Graduate, and it's a pleasure to welcome Krissy to our Student Spotlight. Krissy, thanks for taking some time to join us today and talking with us about your experience with returning to school as an adult and working with the Operation Graduate team. It's great to have you.
Thank you.
So, we'll probably be together for about 15, 20 minutes talking about your experience. And I'm curious if you could just start with telling us a bit more about what inspired you to go back to school.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've worked in the restaurant industry for probably 10 years. Um, and I really enjoy it, but it the hours get to be a lot. I'm the general manager of a restaurant here in South Dakota. Um, so I don't have, the hours were the main thing. And I know I had started school, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And I kind of ran into um, made some bad life choices, stuff like that. And once I've gotten sober for about 2 years, I decided that I wanted to do something that was more fulfilling rather than just working in the restaurant industry. Not to say that,
Hmm.
that there's anything wrong with that, but something that was more just spiritually fulfilling for myself.
Hmm. And so, what did you decide to study? And
Um,
let's talk a little bit more about that.
okay. I have a bachelor, I'm going for my bachelor's in human services.
Hmm.
Essentially, what I'd like to end up doing is going into drug and alcohol counseling. Um, it really helped me when I was trying to get sober, and that's kind of what my goal is, to help others that are struggling with addiction and stuff like that.
I think it says a lot that you want to take your own experience and then connect with your community and help others.
Thank you. Yeah. Um, I think I'm a people person. I kind of always have been. It's just working with others that have gone through, because I know how hard it can be, um, to give them the right tools to help them better, their lives as well.
Hmm. Absolutely. So, what has it been like in your courses so far? What type of studies and topics have really resonated the most with you?
Um, so the topics that I think have that I found the most interesting, a lot of my counseling classes, like the theories of counseling, I've really
Mhm.
enjoyed those. The developmental classes where we talk about like lifespan development, stuff like that, just because, you really get to see what affects a person. That's
Mhm.
always been kind of interesting to me anyway. But knowing what I know now about myself, um, it's helped me learn more, not only about myself, but like how to deal with other people as well that are maybe struggling. um, I found some of it almost therapeutic for myself as well, just to
Mhm.
do some self-reflection and stuff like that on the things that I've been through and why I made the choices I made. And um, it's kept me humble and grateful for sure.
Uh-huh. It's amazing. I hear a few students now, I'm noticing a pattern about students sharing that they feel like going back to school is therapeutic for them. It's
Yeah.
an interesting term that you've used, but I do think that's a trend with going back to school as an adult is that you have all this experience that you bring to the table, and then suddenly you're reading, right, and learning about theories. You mentioned counseling and lifespan development, and you can think, wow, how did that apply to me? And
Right.
how can I use that immediately to impact the choices I make moving forward or how I communicate even with my family and friends or in the workplace?
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
amazing how you can just take it immediately and directly apply it when you have
Yeah,
such a connected experience to bring to the table.
definitely.
So, what has it been like to work with the Operation Graduate team?
Um, that was so helpful for me when I decided to go back to school, because
Hmm.
I do work a lot of hours at my current job. And it was something that I was just kind of like toying with the idea of it. And then you guys reached out to me, and I didn't realize how easy it was, because all I had to really do was send over my transcripts, and then you guys took care of everything else. Um, and then all of a sudden it was, your first class starts this day, and I was like, wow, this is so nice. Like, it's not what I remember it being like when I went to school the first time. There wasn't as much work.
So we took some of the stress out of it,
Absolutely.
which is
Absolutely.
definitely one of our goals. How did it feel like, I would say, when you found out about us? Anything that you specifically remember, from some of those initial encounters?
Um, I think Ariel was the one that I dealt with
Hmm.
initially, and she was super helpful and understanding. I was a little nervous just because I'm not really tech savvy. So
Hmm.
getting like signed up and um, doing online classes made me a little nervous just because I didn't know like the technology part of it, if it was going to be. But Ariel did a really good job of explaining that stuff to me, showing me where to find tutorials if I needed help
Hmm.
figuring out something online. I know um, we did like a video call a couple times, and she just kind of got access to my computer and walked me through it, which was super super helpful. That
Hmm.
was one of the first interactions that I had with you guys, and I was like, wow, this is awesome.
Our students are often very grateful for that kind of support
Yeah,
and the fact that we point them to the resources to make it easy. I do think that's one of the challenges now is that there's just so much information out there. Just looking through it all to find specifically what you need in that moment can be challenging. So when you have
absolutely.
someone who knows you and you can give them a call, pick up the phone, they know exactly where you left off and they can just keep you moving forward.
Absolutely, yes.
So, what are some of your strategies for time management? We have found that that's a very big challenge with going back to school. And so we ask every student because sometimes we get tips that we can share with others.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so I definitely try to make sure I have one day, at least one day, set aside for my classes.
Hmm.
Most of my assignments are due on Thursdays and Sundays. So
Hmm.
typically I take Thursday, and that's the day that I work on my schoolwork. And then Sundays, I try to make sure those 2 days specifically, I have time to at least set aside and look at what I need to finish or what I need to submit. And
Hmm.
I've also noticed that if you communicate with a lot of the teachers, they're super understanding that, you're I assume, most people, they have a full-time job as well as going back to school, or, they're super understanding that life happens and it doesn't always go as planned. So if you
Hmm.
reach out to them and communicate with them, they're more than willing to let you submit an assignment like a day late or something and then grade it and give you credit for it, which has been super helpful for me as well.
I've heard great feedback about the faculty and about that type of communication from other students too. And I want to acknowledge the fact that you're setting aside specific time and you're sticking to it week over week.
Yeah.
Sounds like that's worked very well for you.
Yes, definitely.
And then any resources that you've used, not only from Operation Graduate, but directly from the university that have helped contribute to your success?
I would say probably I really like the Canvas thing that they use for Indiana Tech, which is where
Mm-hmm.
where I'm going through.
Mm-hmm.
It's super user friendly. You can have it linked to your phone to set your reminders. There's an
Mm-hmm.
app you can have on your phone so you can stay up to date on that kind of stuff. And then Operation Graduate, I really do appreciate getting the text messages being like, okay, we're this far into the course, you're missing this many assignments, or, you're just to help me keep on track and be mindful instead
Mm-hmm.
of, it, I guess it holds me accountable a little bit
Mm-hmm.
too, which is helpful, because there are some days, you don't feel like doing the schoolwork or sitting down, but you get those reminders and it's like, okay, yep, I gotta, I gotta sit down today and overlook the class and see where I'm at.
It's funny. We always tell our students we're your partner in both motivation and accountability. And to hear you say that, lets me know that perhaps we have found the right balance. We're often wondering, okay, we don't want to overwhelm, but we want to be there to support and remind and kind of keep that accountability factor,
For
going.
sure.
Have you set any specific goals during your journey so far that you want to speak to?
Um, my ultimate goal, I would say, is eventually I would like to go have my own practice
Mm-hmm.
as a counselor. I know that I have probably about a year and a half or 2 years left of school now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more of a long term goal,
Mm-hmm.
but it would be nice to just be able to spend more time with family and stuff like that, have more of a job where I'm not expected to be there, 70 hours a week and it's not always that way, but um, yeah, I'm looking forward to being able to have more of a traditional lifestyle where I can spend time with family and my fiance and his kids, and um, I'm really looking forward to just having my lifestyle just slowing down a little bit and not just being so chaotic and go, go, go all the time.
It sounds amazing, and we're excited to be a part of helping you accomplish that goal. Certainly, the restaurant industry is so fast-paced,
Yeah.
and I worked in it for quite some time as well earlier on in my career. I can relate to what those days can look like.
Yes.
Um, so I'm curious, what advice would you give to someone who's going back to school?
I would just say, you have to kind of make sure you set time aside at least once a week to sit down and look at your classes. But I think it's definitely possible for anybody, no matter what you have going on. Um, the fact that these classes, you're only taking one course at a time.
Hmm.
Um, so it's not as scary as you think it is. Like once you get into it, it's definitely manageable.
Hmm.
And I mean, if you're not happy, you should definitely, I mean, everybody deserves to be happy and taking steps towards your goals and what you want to do with your future.
Hmm.
I think it's very attainable.
Great advice. I'm actually taking notes, and we do take your exact words and share them with others. So, Krissy, thank you. So
Yeah.
basically, it sounds like what you're saying is that you have to work through the fear that comes
Yes.
naturally with doing something new. But when you take the steps to carve out time and maybe engage your support system, it is manageable.
Hmm.
And that
Definitely.
basically life is just too short to not work towards the goals, that you really have that are going to feel fulfilling
Yeah.
longer term.
Absolutely. 100%.
Thank you for that. That's
Yeah.
great. Would you refer someone to Operation Graduate? That's my last question.
Yes. Yes. I don't know that I would have taken the steps to go back to school if Operation Graduate hadn't like reached out to me and done the work. Just, I think it's very beneficial just because you don't have to worry about getting all the fine-tuned details. You guys really do take care of that for, students, and I think that was super beneficial and helpful for me realizing that, I do have time and I can make time for this.
Well, we appreciate that.
Yeah.
Honestly, we're a very small, unique organization, and we're based out of Chicago. You probably know that. But we work with students all around the country. And some of our best students actually do get referred to us, by our current students. And we just take so much pride in being able to do what we do and help students accomplish their goals. So thank you again. And I want to congratulate you on all the progress that you've made so far with your studies.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we look forward to continuing to stay in touch with you throughout the process, all the way through to graduation.
Yes, absolutely.